In the last video, I was showing you different jigs and different projects that I had going on around the shop. One of the projects was doing this for my granddaughter. Now this is not a typical bowl. It has a big hole in it. But this was a specific requirement that she had requested for a special project that she was working on. And I did it with the segmented pieces and turned it on the lathe. And I had asked if you guys were interested in learning how to do the segmented turning. I would do a series, and the response was overwhelming. And so yes, I'm going to start a series on doing the segmented turning. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about is just what is segmented turning. Well, basically, all it is putting together pieces of wood and stacking them in layers, and you can use different colors wood. Now this one, for an example, actually has pine, and people say you can't use pine, and yeah, you can. If you want this type of a color, you can definitely use pine. This one, for an example, was actually made out of a 2x4. Yeah, that's right. I don't think I have ever seen a project, a segmented turning, using a 2x4 before, but here it is. Now, one of the things that you can do is you're not limited to just simple turning of bowls. I'm gonna give you a close-up in a minute, but this has multiple different types of wood in it, and it turned out beautiful. This one has maple and walnut in it, but it's all just different segments. And this is poplar. This poplar is one that you actually cut this one on the bandsaw and glued the segments together. So you're only limited by your imagination. Now, does it have to be big projects like this? No, you can actually do pins such as this that are segmented turnings. So really, the sky is the limit. And then you can also incorporate the epoxy resins in this, make pins such as this, and even the 3D printer. This is the little hearts that I did for a pin with the 3D printing. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to put a playlist of wood turning videos that I have done so you can take a look at it, because the imagination and the creativity is your only limitation. A lot of people start out their wood turning experience with just a simple pin. Now this is a slimline pin that's very easy to be able to turn. It's just literally two pieces of wood, and then you just turn it down smooth, and it just turns it into a cylinder. And then it still makes a very nice pin. You can also take pins such as this that you're doing the turning on and do simple laser engraving to make it personalized. You can put names in here. You can put really anything that you want. But again, this is a good entry-level beginning point if you want to start learning how to do the wood turning. And as you progress, you can start inlaying different pieces of wood in there to be able to create some very interesting designs. This pen I used actually for years, everyday use, and it still looks almost as good as the day that I had made it. Here's another inlay that you can do, and again, this finish is actually starting to wear a little bit, but it's close to 20 years old. So you can make very durable products with different color contrasting woods and have some very nice effects. This is going to be a more advanced type of segmented turning. And that's right, you've got all different types of wood in here. We've got the maple, we've got walnut, we've got bloodwood. We have all different types of wood in here that were glued together to make this segmented turning on a pin. Then if you like to do the epoxy resins, then you can take pins and pour the epoxy resins and make pins such as this. And this, quite frankly, was just leftover resin from another project that I had set up in a mold so that I could turn this pin. You can even expand out into the world of 3D printing, and you can print and pour the resin to be able to combine both of the different types of projects. So these are some of the things that you can do with the lathe. Now, if you have access to big chunks of solid wood, yes, you can make solid wood poles and things on your lathe also. This particular one is actually a series of layers, and this came from one board technique where we cut it basically at a 45-degree angle and stacked up the segments to be able to create this bowl. And this was made out of poplar, just purchased from the local big box stores. Contrasting woods is a beautiful way to make the bowls. Now this is actually mahogany that actually came from an old pallet, and the lighter wood is actually pine. And you can see it turned out absolutely beautiful. And this was one of the first bowls that I had ever made. The actual first bowl that I had ever made was this one right here. This one is made out of nothing more than pine with the different segments glued together. And it turned into a beautiful bowl, I think. And then from this one, I graduated and I made this one. And this is the one that I had the feature ring here and used the mahogany along with pine to make a beautiful bowl. And quite frankly, maple would be a good choice as well. Now this one is actually made out of oak. And I have some thin strips in here of the walnut that makes for a nice accent. So it doesn't just have to be little square segments. You can change these segments any way that you want to be able to create your desired look. And you can see how these rings are actually cut at an angle. And this one is actually on, in essence, a little pedestal. If you want to make one with the lid, you can do that too. So there's a segmented turning. Now this one has just a one piece here with the feature rings at the top and bottom, and then with a piece of the mahogany in between. So it doesn't have to be just individual layers. Again, your creativity is your only limitation. And then here's the lid for it that fits nicely. This is the one that I know that you will like. You look down in there, you see the checkerboard pattern of the bloodwood and maple, and this is a cypress wood on the outside, and you can see how the stem looks with the different colors from that checkerboard pattern. And of course that pattern comes down through the bottom. And I had dated this one where I had made it in 2010. So you can see after many years, it still looks just as good today as it did when I made it. And I'll show you how to do the finish that will protect your projects. All your bowls don't have to be real thick. This is a thin wall. It's about 1/4 inch thick that I made from the walnut material here and the maple. And that turned out really nice. This is a nice fruit bowl that you can have that would look good on anybody's table. And you can see the design there. Very simple, very straightforward. But again, that would look good on anybody's table. And then this project is different from all of them. These walls are just over 1 inch thick. It's tapered in here. It's going to be receiving some type of a bowl that this will be sitting on. It needed to be completely hollow. And on the bottom of it, It just has the roundovers, and that's it. And this one was not finished. Now you'll see some little tiny cracks right here. I could actually had finished this and added some CA glue in there and a little bit of sawdust, and you wouldn't even see it. But this project is going to be for a different type of situation, so that was not necessary. But even just rough 2x4s, you can still make some very nice projects. I wanted to show you this little cap. If you don't have the metal parts to the pin, no big deal. You can make your own. This is just a little maple cap, and this is the little maple piece here with an extra little design touch in there. And then I have the inlay that you can see right there. So they can be quite thin and work out really, really beautiful. So again, you're only limited by your imagination. Now with a lathe, you're not just limited to making bowls, pins, or round handles such as this. You can do what's called offset turning and make handles such as this. You actually use multiple points to be able to make it where it's not round, and that's a perfect application for making the handle for this type of a hammer. Now we'll explore the offset turning as we go through this series as well. Now as a reminder, I hope you'll take the opportunity to be able to subscribe to the channel and be able to hit that bell notification so that you'll be able to follow along this series and the other videos that I have. Now what are you going to need to be able to get started? Well, you're going to need some type of a lathe. Now this lathe is actually from Harbor Freight, and it's a good entry-level machine to be able to start on. I have an older lathe right here, which is actually a rigid lathe. I don't even know if these are still sold anymore, but this one is about 25 years old, and it has done a lot of different projects. Now I do have a piece of heavy timber right here to be able to add weight to it, and that actually helps to stabilize the machine. So that's something that you want to be able to consider. A lathe needs to have a little bit of weight to it. And your high-end lathes that you'll see on the market are actually very heavy. This one has a cast iron base to it versus the design such as this, which is a metal tube for the tailstock to be able to ride on and the tool rest. Either way works well. This one is a lighter weight lathe, obviously because of the pipe. The timber that I put on here adds quite a bit of weight, and that helps to stabilize it. The cast iron base that comes from Harbor Freight, you really don't need to do that. It adds quite a bit of weight on its own. All you need to get started is just a very basic set of wood turning tools that you can pick up just about anywhere. Some of these tools, like this one for an example, a tool such as this with the 3 points, actually I made in the shop, and that can be really, really handy. So you'll be able to make your own tools. I made the handle for this as well. This is another one that I actually had made. Again, it's a 3-point tool. Now I had made this tool out of nothing more than a pry bar, and I set it up where I could put that round tip, that carbide tip on there. Now this is a carbide tip. This is one with the actual square tip. I also have one that I made that has the point on it, such as this. Now actually I don't recommend making your own lathe tools, especially from a pry bar, because the metal is extremely hard, and quite frankly it's a little bit difficult to be able to drill a hole into the material and be able to tap it. But I do recommend being able to get a good set of the carbide tip tools, and that's something that I've just recently ordered, and it'll be in for this series, and I'll be able to show you how to be able to use those tools as well. Segmented turning is a little bit different than your typical woodworking. So as I go through this series and try to go from the very beginning and step through and progressively get more and more complex, I want you to be able to ask questions. So please leave the comments down in the comment section below. Ask those specific questions. I definitely will try to answer them and probably make a video to be able to exactly show how it's done. I also was going to introduce to you the wedgie sled that I use to cut out all the segments. Can you do it on a miter saw? Yes, you can. And I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques to be able to cut the segments. One where you can cut the entire circle all at once, and another one, if you're not quite as accurate with your measurements and their angles, you can still have success. And I'm going to show you how to make rings such as that to be able to compensate for those small errors in your cutting. I'm also going to introduce to you this wedgie sled, and I'll show you how to make it, and the plans actually are already available on the Inventables project page with the easel so that you can actually cut your own. And this will give you some of the different segments that are most common. I typically use the one that's a 30 degree with the 12 segments, but you can certainly use these other ones to be able to create the different designs for your bowls. And I'll show you exactly how to use that. And this makes cutting the individual segments so much easier. Now this is a quick introduction into what is going to be required to be able to do the segmented turning. It can be an awful lot of fun, very rewarding, and quite frankly, it's not real complicated. There are just some different steps that you have to follow to be able to be successful. Basic tools are going to be needed outside of what you typically use for your woodworking projects. Now I have a playlist right up here that you can take a look at to be able to just look at some of the wood turning that I have done in the past and how to use some of these tools and the equipment as we begin this series. And if you like this video, by all means, give me a thumbs up and hit that little subscribe button down below and the bell notification. And that way you'll be able to follow along on this series of the wood turning. So for now, I'm going to say bye-bye to everyone, and I'll see you real soon in the next video.